Hey everybody. So happy to be here. Crazy good day. And the question is, are we going to hit an all-time high on this particular stream? So we'll see. It's just been a very, very positive day. The plan is coming together. Everything's very positive. But before I jump in today, I want to say a big thank you to this whole community. Everybody's so kind, so sweet, so helpful. And a big thank you to the moderators out there keeping us all safe. Caligula, and Preston, and Big Apple, and K8, and everybody else. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here. Let's jump in and talk about what's going on today. Are we going to hit a new all-time high? So when I started this literally a second ago, the price was at 64017. So $17. So we have a long way to go. We have about another $900 to go. Probably not going to happen during the stream, looking at the charts, but we are going to get an all-time high very soon, within definitely the next 24 to 48 hours for sure. Anyway, let's talk about what else is going on in the market, not only where we come from, but where we are going to go as well. So as usual, this is not financial advice. This is edutainment, and this channel is about math, money, and freedom. So first of all, let's pop this up and look at what's going on in the market today. You can see here, everything is red. Some stuff is deep red. VeChain, Cardano, etc. Solana actually just took a big spike up. Luna took a big spike up right before I started. But as you know, this is what happens when Bitcoin has a huge, strong day. And the dominance is at 49.29%, which is very, very big. I didn't think we'd get close to 50% again so soon, but here we are. But this is what happens. Again, things swing in cycles. So be ready for that. So let's talk about where we have come from over the last 188 days precisely. As you know, this channel likes to look at numbers and trends and patterns. So it was April 14th, 2021. Last time we hit our all-time high. And again, we were about $900 away from that amount right now. So it depends also on the exchange you're looking at. But according to my numbers, we are $900 away. But April 14th, we had a whole bunch of stuff happen. We had a big swing down, the journey from the last peak to today. We had a death cross. We had a gold cross. We had a lot of FUD. We had a minor ban. And most importantly, we had 3 months of amazing buying opportunity. And that minted hundreds and hundreds of whole coiners. Every time things took a dip, we sniped. And it went really well. But where are we going to go? So let's look at that map again, but elongated out. This is something I shared a while back. And just to give you an idea of where we could go, and I did put an Elliott impulse wave in there back at the end of September, I think it was. Everything's a blur right now. And here you'll see a couple of chart numbers. Again, this is not financial advice. These are just theoretical goals that we could achieve given the trajectory we are on right now. So first of all, we have blitz through our highest ever weekly close. That's the first green line. And we are heading up probably to 67K at the very least. November, which is coming up real soon, we are like 11, 12 days away from November. According to Plan B and many others, $95,000 is possible. And Christmas, 135K. But we will see. But the big question is, how is this even possible? It sounds outrageous to say, well, 2 weeks ago, some of us were buying Bitcoin at 41K. It's gone up 60% in a very short window of time. How can we be so convinced it's going to go this high? Well, this chart tells us a few things. This is from Willy Woo and shared by Lark Davis today. And it just talks about all the massive accumulation that's been happening. So if you look at the bottom section of the chart, you'll see the green boxes. These are accumulation periods. This is when all the supply is bought up. And then after that, after an accumulation period, typically you get the impact of a supply shock and the price goes up. That's it. All the stuff is bought. The supply goes down. Then you hit an all-time high, and I tweeted about this today, and that there are some people waiting all over the world for Bitcoin to hit a new all-time high. That is their signal to get in. For them, if we hit 65K, that proves to those investors, oh, this is real. this has legs. You know, they don't want to buy at 20K, 30K, 40K, 50K, 60K. They wait for 65K. Then they jump in. It's madness to think, but that's just how some investors work. And anyhow, we could see a real blowout because there is simply no supply. And the question is, who is actually selling at these levels? But let's dig a little bit deeper. Let's look at what's happening in El Salvador. President Nayib Bukele says his country is recording more Bitcoin purchases than withdrawals. Remember, he gave everybody $30? That $30 he gave a couple of weeks ago is now worth $50. And Bukele tells his 3 million Twitter followers that the Salvadorans have spent over $3 million purchasing Bitcoin at Chivo vending machines in the last 24 hours. $3 million in El Salvador is a lot of money. And two new cool Chivo facts is the fact that people are inserting way more dollars to buy Bitcoin than what they were withdrawing from Chivo ATMs. Think about that. These people don't have a lot, but they're getting rid of their fiat and are switching it for Bitcoin as quickly as they possibly can. It's like professional hodlers just after a couple of weeks. And any media outlet can independently confirm this by visiting the ATMs. The second thing as well, today in El Salvador, they received $24,076 in remittances through Bitcoin, adding up to over $3 million in a day. Think of the savings that these people are saving by going to the Bitcoin standard. Again, massively positive news. I was doing an interview this morning, and there was a lady on from El Salvador, and I spoke to her directly. So it was just fantastic. And she asked me what advice I have for the people. I didn't even need to give them the advice. They already knew what to do. So that was a really, really great piece of news today. Now let's talk about some of the impact of the ETF. You're probably sick to death hearing about the ETF so far. But Grayscale Bitcoin Trust went over 20% discount today, again. And this is impacted because money is now beginning to flow out. And Grayscale have promised to convert their GBTC to an ETF, which is good. Which means ultimately at some stage, whether it's 75 days from now, 90 days from now, sometime in 2022, we're not sure when, but that discount will go to zero. So buying at 20% off is a good deal. In addition, a couple of other names, which are other kind of proxies, got hit. This was to be expected, but now I didn't expect MicroStrategy to fall so much. So somebody's not doing their math, and I'll talk about that in a second. But MicroStrategy, Marathon, Bitfarms, etc. stumbled. I think CleanSpark was up today, but a couple of other names did get hit. And the reason is other assets are getting attention, and people are maybe plowing money from one to the other, and the demand is going down. But math always wins in the end. And if you look at the MicroStrategy arbitrage model that I put together, it's basically, I've never seen the situation where the actual value of the Bitcoin on the balance sheet is greater than the market cap of MicroStrategy. It's completely bonkers. So somebody on Wall Street doesn't know how to calculate numbers, but they'll figure it out real soon. They normally do. It's the same stuff identified back in October and November and December of 2020 and a bunch of times during 2021. It's literally, it's beyond. So there's no inherent risk from MicroStrategy, but people don't realize that the company itself is worth $1.2 billion of that Bitcoin. So you take the value of their Bitcoin, the 114,000 Bitcoin, you add 1.2 billion to that, you divide by the number of shares, that's your price. So I calculate the fair price of MicroStrategy today is between 820 and 865, and it's trading at around 720, which is crazy. But it'll come back up. So stay patient, everybody, or use the arbitrage opportunity. Not financial advice. Who is taking all the thunder? So BITO is sucking oxygen from the room. This is the ETF that went live today. But let me show you exactly how much oxygen it is sucking from the room. It's quite impressive. So the first day trading volume was over $1 billion for a new ETF. That is kind of astounding. That is the second highest on record ever. And to prove that, here are some numbers. Here are the biggest first day EFT launches and, ETF launches, excuse my typo. The BITO one is second only to the BlackRock US Carbon Transition Readiness. And this beats out things like the QQQ and Invesco S&P 500 QVM and iShares Silver Trust and Spiders and other VanEck funds. again, huge demand, and it's only just beginning, and more ETFs are coming too as well. So let's talk a little bit more about what is going to happen. This is news from the CEO of Pantera, and he says stuff that we've been saying for the longest time. The next Bitcoin dip, price will be shallower. So those of you who think Bitcoin is going to go up and then it's going to retrace 85%, no, it's not. And this guy knows his stuff. And this is what I've been saying. Basically, things become shallower and shallower. I have long advocated that as the market becomes broader, more valuable, there's more institutions on board, the amplitude of price swings will moderate. And that is just what happens when an asset gets really big. So let's look at what this looks like in the chart. Here you see a visual of the shallower retracements over time. So we did have an 85% one. We had a 68% one back in 2013, 83%, call it 85% in 2014. Then we had an 83% again, coincidentally, bang on the number in 2018. And here we are, February 20, 61%, and 54% down in August 2021. So is that going to continue? Is the amplitude going to get smaller and smaller? Yes, I believe so. And I always said, it's funny because for months, there's probably at least 10 videos, maybe 15, where I said it'll dip no more than 50%. So that means if we go to 200K, it'll retrace to 100K. And here you see 53% on the board. And I say I think it'll be a little bit less. If we go to, say, 300K, 400K, then the retracement will be larger because it depends on how high we go and how big the blow off top is. So everybody, please keep that in mind. And remember, if you get out, you got to be able to get back in too. So make sure your timing is impeccable. So let's talk about some more good news. Yesterday, I touched on a fact that covered the fact that the top 10% owns 90% of the stock market, and they've made a ton of money over the past year or two. And this is a huge amount of wealth inequality, which I hate to see. But this was an article, which is, it's almost uncanny how timely it was, that came out today. And it talks about how Bitcoin could be the great equalizer and help people that got in early, help get people out of poverty, people who are educated but weren't born with a silver spoon in their mouth, help them get ahead. So that is huge. Last year alone, before the big stuff happened, Americans earned $4 billion from Bitcoin. This year it's going to be about $12 to $20 billion, depending on exactly where we go. And you share that $20 billion across all the 16, 18, 20, 30 million people, that makes a big difference to people's lives. So again, it is a lower cipher than the stock market, but it has the potential to be around and have a huge impact over time. So everybody, please remember, this is a transformational time. This is a 10-year journey. There will be wealth transfer. As I've also said many times, half of all billionaires in the future will be born from crypto, not from inheriting land or property or businesses like Heinz or shares in Amazon or whatever else. These are minted by people taking initiative and getting a piece. And this has the ability to really grow the middle class and help people get out of poverty as well. So everybody, this is very important, a very important time to be alive. Hold on to your wealth very carefully, okay? So let's look at this. Another thing, you've heard me talk about Iran and how Iran are bypassing the dollar. The rise of digital currencies, according to the US Treasury, believes it could cause a decline in the use of the dollar by US adversaries. And this is driving more calls for a multilateral approach to sanctions policy at the Treasury Department in the US. So, you know, if you say to Iran, you're not allowed to use the US dollar, they start mining Bitcoin. They start receiving Bitcoin from people that are bringing them supplies to drill oil, etc. And once we go towards a Bitcoin petro standard, it's game over. So that was just an interesting thing as to how stuff is happening and how the US dollar is becoming less influential in the world. Now, let's talk a little bit about hash rate, very important aspect as well for what we look at. Now, historically, I always believed that price follows the hash rate. This time around, it's the opposite because the hash rate was set back because of the China ban. But here we are seeing it is growing very, very fast. And the two are meeting at the top very quickly because the hash rate is exploding. So it's going to make it a little harder for the miners to mine Bitcoin so easily. They've had a great 3 or 4 months, and they've been mining. Some mining companies have been mining, scores of Bitcoin every single day. Those days will become harder as we go forward. But still, some of the mining companies are very interesting. So let's talk about Facebook. In full disclosure, I'm not a Facebook fan, but they want to use the Coinbase Wallet. This was an interesting turn of events, and there's more news to come on this. But today, Coinbase announced that it will provide crypto custody services for the pilot program of Novi, which is Facebook's new digital wallet subsidiary. And they're going after all the remittance payments as well, kind of like El Salvador. It's like, Facebook, come up with something new. Don't steal something that's already been done. And this was beautiful. Now, for the first time, it's interesting, even Democrats hate Diem. I had to write that line. I thought it was hilarious. But in an October 19th letter to Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, 5 Democratic senators, including banking committee leadership, called for the shutdown of Diem and Novi immediately. Looks like they're going after it. But this is funny. This is the first time I've ever agreed with Elizabeth Warren. She said, Facebook cannot be trusted to manage a payment system or digital currency when its existing ability to manage risks that keep consumers safe has proven to be wholly insufficient. So it's one for Elizabeth Warren. Yeah, I don't trust Facebook with information, nor would I trust the currency. So we'll see where this goes. In another bit of Schadenfreude news, Scottie, poor old Scott Menard, he said Bitcoin is not a value play. And he said 70% of cryptos are garbage. Wow. So this is the first time ever. So we had 2 coincidences in one day. One, me agreeing with Elizabeth Warren for the first time ever. Second of all, this is hilarious. Scott Minard is normally very, very wrong on everything, but he's kind of close on crypto, saying 70% are garbage. I normally say 95% are garbage, so he's getting there. But by the way, his calls for a $15,000 Bitcoin have dried up. He's switching gears. He's changing the narrative. Because he knows, but he said it's, Bitcoin is not a value stock, but he doesn't know that it's divisible up to 8 decimal places. So Guggenheim, there's still room for you if you want to join and get some. So we'll see. Now, a little bit of sad news. Recession. Well, it's kind of sad and funny news as well. This is an article from the Telegraph. Big thank you to Sanjay for sending it to me as well. And it was a funny question. It's not Sanjay Gupta from CNN, please. Different one. So there was some weird messages coming in the other day. So China is in a recession, and the economists have begun to flag early the signs that the US may already be in a recession. Also, Germany has slowed to a crawl. The whole world is slowing down. But what's hilarious about this article from the Telegraph, it examined all of the recession signs from all over the world and examined all of the different assets to hide for safety. And the funny thing is, there was not one mention of Bitcoin. First of all, who reads this newspaper anyway to not even mention Bitcoin as a safety reserve asset I've been talking about for a long time? But he said a good place to park your money might not bonds, but Chinese bonds. When I read that, I thought it was hilarious. It's like after Evergrande is everything else. Oh yeah, go buy some Chinese bonds. Yeah, they are paying 18%, 20%, 24% because the risk is so insane. But I just thought that was interesting. Well done, Telegraph. Good job. And a reminder to everybody, this is your life raft. No doubt about it. The price cannot go down. It's mathematically programmed to go up. Fiat will go down. It's that simple. It's not rocket science, everybody. A little bit of Tesla news. I was trolled by somebody hard on the internet because they were saying, such a Tesla bull and everything else, and that Volkswagen is going to destroy Tesla. Well, this is funny. I've learned to ignore that stuff. But now Volkswagen realizes they're in serious problems. This is just a picture of the gigafactories that Tesla is building around the world. But even with the huge increase over the past 5 or 6 months of Tesla stock price of 60%, it is now trading at about 86 times 2022 earnings per share, and it has a PEG ratio of 1.6 considering the growth rate. Remember, Google has a PEG ratio of 1.4. So, as I say, Tesla is cheap. It's a very, very cheap stock, and the future is very bright. In a little piece of news, another funny thing about Tesla as well, before I go back, don't forget, is the fact that more Teslas are being sold in Germany than Volkswagens. that just eclipsed, which was an interesting number too. So another thing to be aware of, and I'm always very anti-scammer, everybody please keep your crypto safe. Be very aware of everything that you do and trust, and everything you download on your computer, everything you share with everybody, every link you pop on, etc. As I mentioned, I don't read things like email or text messages. I don't answer my phone. It's too dangerous. But this is a scam. It's an app on the App Store. And I want to take a second to explain how this works, because we know of somebody that this happened to about 4 months ago, and they lost a lot of money. They lost 6 digits, high into the 6 digits of all of their savings and crypto savings. So this scam is dubbed Crypto ROM. It entices victims into installing fake crypto trading apps, but it begins in dating platforms. So the guys that share these links to these fake trading apps are in things like Bumble and Tinder and Facebook dating. I didn't even know Facebook dating, a thing called Grindr. All these different apps are out there, and people are pursued. They target high net worth people that look like they know about crypto, and then they send them a link. Sometimes they give them a little bit of pre-funding to prove that they can trust them, and they wait for people to fund the accounts, and then they run away. And one victim recently lost $1.6 million through this exact thing, this exact app. So be careful. There are dangerous apps even on the App Store, and Apple should know better. So watch out, everybody. Don't trust anybody. Don't give anything to anybody, ever. So that's it. Hope you like the content. I'll open up to some Q&A. Hit the like, subscribe. And because I was so intense on talking, I didn't even look at the Bitcoin price. That's how exciting I am to to be here with you guys. So let's look at that right now and see what's going on. Knowing the juju from you guys, it probably went up. Yes, $250. We'll take that. Again, as I said, we weren't going to hit an all-time high, but 64,250. We are not far away, actually. $700 from the all-time high. Maybe it could happen, but I'm going to burn a little bit more time and answer some of your questions going forward. And as I mentioned, all of this super chat money goes towards supporting animals. We just did a very, very big sponsorship today, but that will be revealed later this week. It's part of something bigger. So big thank you as well. Caligula for Hans, Monica's dad. Any insights into these crypto-related equities? They look like they might be undervalued. Riot Mara. Yeah, I don't like... thank you for that question. I've analyzed all the miners for a long time. I've been looking at mining stocks since the beginning of the year, and I've gone deep into them all. Now I've built a 20-point ratio model that appraises them, and I'll keep it up to date as they grow, as they hodl more Bitcoin, as they have more hash rate, and I'm pretty confident it identifies the best value of all. And my two favorites remain Hut8 and CleanSpark. When I looked at Riot and Marathon, I didn't see them as being a good place, but they are the names that are well known, and they do attract a lot of the dollars. Like BlackRock have invested in them, Fidelity have invested in them and stuff. So that's where I see it going. Ovice Ahmed, how are you? Your thoughts on Stronghold Digital Mining IPO tomorrow? A buy? If yes, what price? So I don't buy IPOs. I never buy IPOs, especially with the frothy nature of the market we have now. It would be the kiss of death. Typically, the time to buy the IPO is 1 to 2 weeks after the IPO, and then you go snag some. I am looking at it, have analyzed it. It is an exciting company, an exciting IPO, but I think it's going to start high and it's going to trickle back down. And who knows, if it does dip a lot tomorrow, just like the ETF that launched today, there might be a chance to snag some. So I'll watch it carefully, but please be very careful buying at the open of an IPO. You can lose a lot of money. So A2K 5,000, in a stagflation phase, what will happen to real estate prices and price of Bitcoin? Great question. So sadly, we are in an inflationary phase right now, so everything's going crazy. But real estate is still scarce. For example, in markets like the United States, there aren't enough houses to go around, so I don't expect prices to hit that bad. When stagflation hits, that means the economy slows and prices fall because nobody has any money. It's a dark time, and it's something that nobody wants to see. I think the US will definitely fight stagflation and continue money printing. There's no way out. And as I've always said as well, this should be another little meme. The Fed have painted themselves into a box, and so have all central banks around the world. There's no way, if they stop printing money, everything will spiral into total recession. And that doesn't help anybody. especially not politicians. Makes them very unpopular. So normally, though, if stagflation does happen and the economy tanks, prices of everything will go down. But I still believe Bitcoin will survive better than other assets. And I do believe it's a flight to safety. So that's my thought right now. And I still don't anticipate any stagflation. I thought it'd be, middle of next year. Looks like the global economies are slowing faster than I thought. So it could happen. But the deflation stuff, I still don't agree with Kathy Wood. She thinks deflation is next. I think stagflation is next. So SK, did you ever get a chance to look into Greenidge Generation crypto miner? Also thoughts on Upstart holdings? I thought you'd buy calls on it. Greenidge Generation, I did look at it. The hash rate wasn't enough to fit the target companies I look for, because this is a scale business. It's the companies that can buy as many rigs as possible and get them up and running as possible. So I didn't go too deep. I had a cursory look. So SK, I will add that to my list to take a deeper cut at it. But I remember having a very quick look at some of the fundamentals I look at. It didn't score well. Second of all, regarding Upstart Holdings, I had a limit order to buy that. I can't remember what the price was. It was like $290 or $280 a while back, and I missed it by a couple of dollars, and I was kicking myself because that is a beast, and that continues to run up. Let's see what it's at right now. And I have a very strict discipline of not chasing. It's 367, and I just missed it. I had my limit order marked. It was actually 282, and I missed it by $4. It's like, ugh. And that was back in early October. So I'll wait. I think it's overvalued right now. So I wouldn't buy. I like things cheap. That's where you get much bigger returns. If you buy retail, it's not good. I like to buy wholesale. So burnt cheese. Couldn't ETH. Just buy Polygon and not update to 2.0. That's what I was saying for a long time. They should just open up their kimono and integrate tight with it. And then they'd have all the scalability they need. And that's vexed me. I actually pinged and trolled Vitalik a little bit on that too. That's my simple idea. Always looking for shortcuts to solve their big problems. But for some reason, there's something blocking them. But you're dead right. They could just mint a bunch of crypto or stop burning crypto or put them on a payment plan and just buy Polygon. I still do believe Polygon is a massive, massive value, extremely undervalued as a smart contract platform. And they're doing crazy stuff like the DraftKings stuff I mentioned yesterday. Chump, can you please explain Bitcoin futures as if I were a 9-year-old? Okay, so Bitcoin futures basically they basically are funded by rolling out the expectation of the price of Bitcoin over time. There is no actual Bitcoin backing the future, but it is an instrument that can be used to hedge and participate in the price of Bitcoin. So imagine, how do I say? It's like you're betting on the price of apples next month without actually owning any apples, but you think it's going to go up by, say, 3 cents or 10 cents an apple without buying the apples. And you can use that to manage your risk. And that's why a lot of people believe, including myself, the fact that these financial tools are there, it'll bring in institutional money. And because of the effects of a Bitcoin, you have the ability to make money like you can with a cover call. You could buy spot Bitcoin and sell the ETF as a future out. So you expect the price always of the apple to rise over time, and you can use the tool to do that. So I hope that kind of explains. Rock 007, this may be a stupid question. No such thing as stupid questions, Rock. Only stupid answers. But what happens if somebody makes an identical blockchain to Bitcoin? Also thoughts on Phantom. Thanks, you the man. You can't replicate. Anybody can replicate Bitcoin the flick of a switch. Real easy to do. What you can't replicate is the infrastructure behind it and the motivation and the incentive structure behind how Bitcoin is kept secure and mined today. So from that perspective, no. But if you look at other chains, so many have been copied. So Shiba Inu is a copy of Doge. SushiSwap is a copy of Uniswap, etc., etc. So that can happen. Thoughts on Phantom? Phantom is a great project. It's growing really well from a TVL perspective, but it lacks on the tokenomics perspective when we analyzed it. So it is a great protocol, but not investment worthy. When I compared it to Solana, it didn't qualify as investment grade from my opinion, but I'm extremely conservative. Again, my first goal, everybody, is wealth preservation. Second goal is wealth growth. Lincoln Stewart just sold a house, got 100K in profits after taxes just today. Is it too late to go in on Bitcoin hard? Well, for months now, I've been saying, it's okay if you don't have any Bitcoin to buy up to 65K. And where are we now? We're getting real close. 64,327. Wow, the good juju is really working with you guys today. We are up over $320 since we began. So we are now literally less than $590 from the all-time high. We could make it in this stream. I might have to stay here a little longer and answer some more questions. But yeah, buying up to 65K, we're $650 away from that right now, is fine. Or just buy some and then get some other assets as well, I still believe. So right now, Bitcoin is getting all the attention with all the ETF news and everything else. And it's making some of the other names lag a little bit. So, the other names that we typically follow aren't getting any attention, but that's normal. They're not exactly tanking, they're staying flat. But there's no big money flow going into them right now. The black hole that's sucking everything in is Bitcoin. So from that perspective, Lincoln, congrats on the house sale. Well done on the profit. But yeah, if you don't have a Bitcoin, just buy one. And as long as you got a 4 to 5 year perspective, you don't need to sell that Bitcoin in the next 6 to 12 months, not financial advice, for another house, then you'll be fine. Again, it's number go up technology. It'll only go up from here. Nick Bedford. I'm worried about the other YouTubers blindly telling viewers to take profits and not mentioning tax obligations and individual situation. Thoughts? Well, I spend a lot of time telling people, if you buy, say for example, you buy Bitcoin at 5,000 back in March 2020, although now it'll be a long-term capital gain, it'll be over a year. But if you have something where you make a huge amount of money, you buy an asset for $1, becomes $100. If you're in California, it happens in less than a year. You got to fork over more than 52% of that, assuming you are in a high income tax bracket. So from that perspective, sometimes people don't understand. And there was a few people that were kind of new to the game, and they're kind of buying and selling and incurring a lot of capital gains, short-term capital gains, and without able to manage their losses and harvest taxes and manage taxes. So it's a big problem, a really big problem. And the IRS should be very happy because and other tax authorities, they will be making some money, but it is a huge issue. And people, that's why I always try, if I'm making an investment, I try hold it for at least a year because I can make much more money. That's why I buy leaps, but I do sell short-term calls against them all the time to make extra cash flow. So you never go broke paying profits, even if I am paying 50% of the gain away in taxes. There's still ways around that. So, but you're dead right. People need to look at taxes very carefully when they're trading. David Guest, is Solana's inflation rate a problem compared to Ethereum? No. Look at it at growth rate. The Solana inflation rate is about 10.8%. Last time I calculated, it's going to 8%, then it's going to 1.5% of the long-term average inflation rate. Remember, people sometimes get confused when they compare Solana to Ethereum. Ethereum's been around for 6 years or more. It's like a granddaddy almost in the space. Solana's brand new. And when you have a new chain, you typically have more centralization than normal. You have higher inflation than normal to incentivize people to stake and other types of stuff. So you're comparing apples to oranges. But the way I and the team here appraises things like Solana, we look at growth rate, we look at TVL, we look at build out, we look at DEXs and DApps. That's what's unbelievable. It's not perfect from a tokenomics space, but it's a lot better than some of the projects it's up against that are in its ilk. And that's how we look at things. So not a concern. One Brightum, how do you see the altcoins running up? Is like everyone says, Bitcoin peaks, then alts. Also, when do you see this happening? It's hard to say. Bitcoin, $430 since we started. We are now literally $500 from the all-time high. It's just, again, as I think I mentioned the other day, everything swings in cycles. Things move from what's hot to what's not. And it's just the nature of the beast. Right now, Bitcoin will have its moment. I almost don't want Bitcoin to move this fast, because if it moves too fast, it won't give time for people to get all their money in, and it'll blow up too fast. And that's not a good thing. I think if it moves slower, it'll become much more valuable over time, because a lot of people are still waiting to buy. In fact, I tweeted today, a lot of people are waiting for it to break through an all-time high before they buy. Go figure, huh? So the alt season, though, we don't know what's going to happen. I see a very bifurcated season as well this year. You've got your alts. I don't even like calling them alts. You got to, when you look at this space, you got to look at your NFT plays, your infrastructure plays, your AI plays, your file storage plays, your smart contract platforms, your DEXs. Everything needs to be categorized carefully. When you look at them, you can no longer paint with a broad brush, and everything, I believe, will move in different cycles. When? My crystal ball is pretty good, but I don't know. But this whole market's moving way faster than I expected. A little bit too fast. So I'd be happy to see Bitcoin hang around 65K or run up to the 64.9 and come back down again and knock against that door 3 or 4 times over the space of a week. And that gives people more time to organize their money and get into the market. If it just blows through the all-time high, which is possible, that's not a good thing. It's just moving too fast, way too fast. So I don't want to put the dampener on things out there, everybody. And A72, sell my Link and Cardano for Solmatic. Also, so Link and Cardano for Solana and Matic. When I look at my position size, my Solana position is about 30 times larger than my Cardano position, and my Matic position is 4 times larger than my Chainlink position. So from that perspective, I am way heavier in solid Matic. So you're dead right, A72. I would think about it, but I do believe Chainlink is definitely going to $70, $80. It's just been so weak for so long. But again, like Polkadot, like Matic, it's only time before it pops. And Matic, I just believe, is very undervalued. Buenos Oxygen, hopefully you're from Buenos Aires. Opinions on XPR Proton. I think it's a low cap gem. Can you name 1 or 2 low cap risky gems that have a chance to rock it? Not advice. So I don't do the low cap risky stuff. Again, preserve capital first, grow it second. That's how you make money. You can ignore me if you want. I'm going to see if Proton is in the top 300. It sounds like it's not. And if it's not, I'm not going to be able to know anything about it. No, it's not. Let me see. XPR, but XPR rings a bell. Let me a second. I'm going to take a look at this real fast. I got my ultimate cheat sheet here. Yeah, it is ranked in the top 200. Oh, it's another NFT play. There's just so many NFT plays, everybody. There can't be 500 NFT plays. You know, and 500 dexes. It's really, really hard. So XPR, you're playing with fire. It's just outside of the top 200. I don't know. The chart's on fire, and a lot of people. Okay, this is another problem that people have, and I'm going to be very firm. Don't be angry with me. So a lot of people watch like CoinMarketCap and then do the sort for the biggest gainer, the biggest performer. And of course, XPR is there today, and people are saying, "Oh, look, it's gone up 300%. Is it time to get in?" That's how you lose money, everybody. It's not a winning proposition. You got to get into the winning games before they move. That's how you make money. Chasing stuff after it's run, not going to happen. So XPR would not touch the 40-foot pole. Tokenomics look far from perfect as well. And other ones, we've looked high and low across the top 300. We couldn't find anything. And we've looked for months and months and months. And we've looked at all the infrastructure plays for Cardano and Solana and everything else. Every single project is like less than perfectly structured. So sorry about that, Buenos Oxygen. XPR, be careful. Ged, I have a bag of Rune. A smart move to swap it to ETH. So I had a limit order for Rune after the 2 hacks to buy it at $3.01. I missed it by 1 cent. My plan was to buy it at $3 and sell it at 10. I don't know what it's at now. I know it's doing pretty good. It's probably at 12 or something. Let's have a quick look at that. And it is a good play. I just, because it's been hacked, I get a little bit unsure. It's only 7. I thought it was at $10 a while ago. It was, yeah. So sell it between 10 and 12 and then move it. I think it's going to go straight back to $10 for sure. That was always my target for Rune, and I have analyzed it as well. But the fact that they got hit was not a good thing. Mr. Mahesh, good to see you. Would gold be a safe buy in case a war erupts that could crash stocks and crypto, or will gold crash too? So typically, gold is, the polite way for me to say it, the price is in the toilet. So the downside for gold is very little. So from that perspective, if the whole world goes to hen in a hen basket, gold should still be around $1,500, $1,600. I can't see it going much lower. That being said, I do believe, because of its scarcity, absolute scarcity of Bitcoin, and the fact that the adoption is so early, and it is digital gold, I think it's a safer bet. Over the last 11 years, gold has done horribly through a lot of very bad situations. And you look at the macro backdrop today, it is a dream for gold to be so perfect. And it's lagging. So I don't think, gold is going to go anywhere, to be honest. And if we do have a war, we got bigger things to worry about too. But that's better places to play. Even if there is a war, people will still want electric vehicles. People will still want fintech. People will still want crypto. So I think just all the move is going there. So Juju John, what are your thoughts on crypto.com? It is a very good exchange. I don't use it. We have analyzed it. We like the CRO token as well. And we have not analyzed Nexo tokens from Nexo. But Nexo is getting a little bit of heat right now, like Celsius is in New York State. So we'll see. But crypto.com is definitely a very good exchange for sure. Caligula for @Sleepless. Hello, @Sleepless, and big thank you, Caligula, for putting this in there. The number of people who can survive on 6 hours of sleep or less without any impairment expressed as a percent of population and rounded to a whole number is 0. Oh, you guys are too funny. What happens if they drink enough coffee? If they're very heavily caffeinated? Yeah, we'll see, but that's a cool one. Thank you for sharing. Advice taken. Craig Martinez, portfolio question. Okay, I'm going to do this real quick because people don't like it out there in the audience. Dot link. What should I add? Any rebalance recommendation? You need more Bitcoin. Everybody should be at least 50% Bitcoin, 50 to 60%. I like as a Bitcoin share. That is the safest way to play. So that's what I would recommend. Layer into more Bitcoin. You have plenty of Solana. So I'm not too concerned there at all. And I like your holdings. Really good quality holdings. Great job. Beautiful. And I like the fact that your ETH and Solana are nearly balanced. So it's almost perfect. You just need more Bitcoin. Big Bug Duck Kiwi. Which SEPs do you rank? 4, 5, 6. Aha, that's a secret. I'll put it this way. I'll tell you what's not in the top 6. Cardano didn't make it. And Adam, let me tell you if Adam is in there. Give me 1 second. Adam is actually better. There was a video somebody shared with me today. Somebody saying Luna's going to $1,000. And Adam scored quite well in terms of the overall ranking. Oh no, it didn't actually. Adam is down there. There's a whole bunch all stuck together. Some have better tokenomics, some have better smart contract matrix scores, which means the amount of adoption, the amount of TVL, the amount of development. The top 6 include things like Avalanche and BNB, etc. And then you have Elrond and others. Adam was actually really low down there for some reason. And it's down there with Luna. So Luna and Adam didn't make it into the top 10. Hope that helps. And remember, this is also a target that's moving all the time. So things like Phantom are quickly running up the charts because they have so much adoption. Still, tokenomics far from perfect, but they're scoring better on the SCP profiler. So I hope that helps. Let me see. Pika, can you do a quick analysis on HBAR and your thoughts? I did a detailed video on it. I didn't like the way it was so centralized and so controlled and how the insiders had lined their pockets. I do believe they have a chance if they start becoming infrastructure for central bank digital currencies, but that goes fly in the face of what this space is all about. The space is about decentralization and not creating central bank digital currencies, which is basically digital fiat. And that's where I believe they could go up a lot in value. I own a position in HBAR. It's not very big, but I do own it, and I'm very close. It'll be one of the first ones that I get rid of as well as we go up higher. So hope that helps, but check out my HBAR video. You'll see my exact thoughts there. It's in Should I Buy HBAR? Billy McAlpin, price prediction for CleanSpark in January. Well, as I said when I did my video, it was at $10. I said this is a $40 stock. So getting there by January is hard, but getting there next year is easy. So it'll be a 4x from when we did the video, and it has all the makings of a great company. It's got great backers, great team, great technology, great investment. I love the way the CEO thinks, and nothing but goodness. So thanks, Billy. Steamed Gaming. I love drinking whiskey while watching your vids. Do you like it? And what's your favorite? It's an interesting, fun question. So I don't drink any hard liquor at all. I hate to sound boring. I thought today, if we were going to hit an all-time high, I'd open what I call a bubble juice, which is the seltzer water with a little bit of alcohol in it. It's literally so weak in alcohol, it's just like drinking San Pellegrino. So that's it, but I don't, and sometimes I have a glass of wine, but no hard liquor. But maybe one day. How about this? If Bitcoin hits 100,000, I will try a whiskey live on YouTube for you guys. All right? I wish I could just buy everybody a whiskey. That would be cool. And thanks for your donation as well. Joseph Pionti again, Chicken Wise, Chris K, Craig Martinez, Tunas on Toast, chatting with you the other day. It was cool. JP, Caligula, at Benamortizia. Would you like to try Chocomel, the national drink of the Netherlands, when Bitcoin hits 100K? How about Chocomel with whiskey? That could be a fun one. Yeah, I'll do anything if this world goes where I think it's going to go. Sleepless and Day Adams and Dragonfire and JRAM. Thank you for all you do too. JT350. That's a good car. Breakbeat Stew, Brandon Curtis, Thomas Sharkey, Steve Guernsey, Air to the Ron, Caligula. The sleepless number of people is hilarious. Red Soul, Global Party People, Keep the Music Up, and Christopher Gag, LH Welchmoss, Oops, No Problem, and Bitcoin Russ, Digital Free for All. Big thank you for that big donation. We got big releases coming about what we're doing with this money. You guys are now helping children's hospitals and big animals and the oceans and everything else. Mad Max and everybody else. So good night all. On that final note, oh my God, this is crazy. We are literally still $500 away from the all-time high. We've gone up $426 since we began. If I stay for another 40 minutes, we'll probably make it. But I've got to get back to work. But big thank you, everybody. Be safe. See you tomorrow.